This is Charlie Parsons for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on DAZN. I have just been asking Frank Smith the most bizarre and random questions that have been coming to mind to the point where he's clearly had enough and said, start the interview, Charlie. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's all the questions you're not allowed to ask in the interview you asked
Yeah,
before.
I've been briefed.
Hmm. Long
uh,
briefing.
how was the basketball last night, mate?
Yeah, didn't really know what was going on. I'm not a massive basketball. My knowledge of basketball isn't huge. A bit like my knowledge of football, I suppose. Um, but it was good. It was a good atmosphere. It packed out in there as well. So yeah, interesting, mate. Interesting.
Can I be a slight pain? Your forehead's getting like cropped off on the camera. Could you? There we are. Perfect.
But now I've got a torch.
Yeah, it works. It works.
Yeah.
I suppose we caught up. Wow, it feels like a while ago since we caught up. But I remember
Yeah, you've been obviously living the life out, private jets, football, this, that, the other. Sort of forgot you actually had a job, to be honest.
have you not been living the life?
No, I've been working. I wasn't at the Euros final on a private jet, at the game in hospitality, drinking champagne, taking pictures with everyone. Jude Bellingham looked delighted to have a picture of you, to be fair.
Yeah, it was. The problem we have there is he actually watches some of the videos. That probably wasn't the best time to meet him for the
No,
first time.
no, I'm not sure yeah, you're probably thinking, mate, leave me alone.
Yeah, he's younger than me. That's quite demoralizing.
Is he?
Yeah.
Hmm. Got a better work ethic, obviously, there.
Oh, Jude,
Yeah.
that's mean. That's mean. Frank, I have a question. You said when we were speaking, you said that Osaka Japan was stressful. Am I allowed to sort of dive in a little bit and ask, just I suppose being curious and liking to know what you get up to, what was it that made it so stressful?
Look, I think anytime you do something new, it's going to be stressful. We become like a traveling circus week in, week out, doing what we do all around the world. And every time you go somewhere new, it's going to be hard because you're experiencing new things that you haven't experienced before, new partners. But it was good. There was a lot of learnings to take away from it, a lot of improvements to be made. But yeah, stressful in a sense of probably had to do some work for once compared to like I say, when you're so used to, we do 35 shows a year in boxing, we do 300 odd events as a business a year across all of the different sports we're involved in. When you're doing the same thing, rinse and repeat week in, week out, in a sense of delivering with the same suppliers, same providers, etc., all around the world, it becomes easier in a sense. When you go somewhere for the first time and you're doing something brand new, it brings challenges. But you know, we could just sit back and say, let's just do what we know and not launch anything new. But that's not what we're about as a business. So stressful in a sense of Frank actually had to do some work.
I suppose, does it almost run not too smoothly sometimes, but I suppose in the UK and the US where you're so used to having events, you sort of know what you've got. Was it more that side of stuff that was like,
I don't think it's too smoothly. I think it's you've seen everything in all these markets we've done shows. So there's nothing really surprises you. You know how to really deal with everything that comes along. It's not that there's not stressful moments in other events, but you know what you're dealing with. This was something brand new. It's a different commission, or different providers working with us. It's everything. The next show will be much better, and like I say, we would have learned a lot. So I guess it's just a case of, and like anything in life, you change and you do something different and you try and evolve and build in new markets, there's going to be challenges, but we got through it. And like I say, the second show will be a lot better, I'm sure.
can't believe we haven't caught up since Boots made his Matchroom debut. It was absolutely ram-packed in there. And I suppose whenever you guys are giving the pitch to the fighters, it's let us turn you into a star as such, maybe where other promotional outlets haven't been able to, or haven't quite sort of pounced on certain opportunities, etc. It seems so evident with Boots. You have someone like Shakur Stevenson ringside. Is it a statement of intent as to where Matchroom are in the USA?
Yeah, I think you got that. You've obviously got just 2 weeks before that as well. We had Bam against Estrada, which we had 9,000 people there in Phoenix for. We had Puerto Rico 2 weeks before that, another 9,000 people there for Subriel Matias against Liam Power. we're on a great run in the US, and it's only going to keep building and growing. We're always going to face into the same messaging from the historic promoters because they don't want anyone new. They don't want anyone different. They don't want anyone who's sort of trying to do something in what they perceived to be their market. But we've been there for 7 years now. We started with Danny Jacobs back in, I think, 2017 it was. And we've kept building, kept growing from there. And, we're in a great place. And that's why fighters want to sign with us. Boots, I think we did, look, I think he's already got a huge following, but he could be a lot bigger than what he currently is. And I think we've shown that in the first fight. He's a tremendous fighter, so people are going to get behind him. But yeah, I think people are seeing what we're creating and, getting behind it. It's only what we did in the UK. It was always going to take time, but I think we're in a great place in the US. It's going to keep growing and evolving.
It feels like friction and politics and pushback in the US seems to be changing as such. We've seen in the UK, and maybe we'll touch on that, but over the last couple of days, we've seen Golden Boy and Top Rank sign deals with Riyadh Season. We've seen that Turkey Al Sheikh put out that, how fond he was of DAZN. We're hearing Frank Warren and Queensbury could end up with DAZN, and I'll touch on that in a bit. But does it almost seem like all the competitive nature of the sport, it will always be there, but is maybe going a little bit where people are sort of, I suppose, having to cooperate to an extent?
Yeah, look, I think, as you say, the competitive element will always be there for sure. And it has to be there, it has to remain. But I think people are seeing if we can make great fights and it makes sense, then let's do it. There's lots of discussions going on about a whole host of things at the minute. You've got Canelo-Berlanga is a big fight that's, could happen. And that would involve obviously Matchroom working with PBC as an example. And I think we've always worked together, all these different promoters. We had Jack Catterall against Josh Taylor was Matchroom and Top Rank on DAZN and ESPN. So I think you're just seeing it a lot more from a PR perspective of people talking about the relationships in boxing, but it's always been there. Publicly, the relationships haven't always been great with certain individuals, but I think it's good for the sport if we can make good fights, great fights happen, and it makes sense for everyone involved, be that the broadcasters, the promoters, and the fighters. Then it's great for the sport. It's only going to grow and evolve the sport in the long term.
Frank, I suppose just from seeing how you've operated over the last 3 years, and I look back at like that weird week when we were in LA when Michael McKinson was meant to fight Ortiz and sort of some of the dealings you'd had with Golden Boy then. I've seen you in hotels with Ben Shalom at Canary Wharf discussing all sorts of whether it be like 8 in the morning or 10 p.m. at night, etc. How much has it changed for you? Because you've always been that person there who's sort of had that direct line of contact with a lot of these entities. It's more been, I suppose, I say the front man as such, but Eddie's never really needed to have that relationship with Ben Shalom, etc. Are you noticing much of a change or not really?
I don't think so. I think, like I say, you go back to the point of, we don't all have to get on in any walk of life. Not all characters and individuals are going to get on. But if you can do good business that makes sense, then great. There's a lot of people I've sat down with in my time who I thought, I really don't like you, but put that to the side and just get things done. And all of these things like, probably Oscar and Eddie, for example, that's never stopped us doing business with Golden Boy. Whether it was John Ryder against Jaime Munguia, as an example, as a recent, that we're consistently doing business together. And you can point to all of these things, but the reality is when things make sense, they'll happen. And in all parts of boxing, someone from our business might have a great relationship with someone in TGB or PBC or whatever, there's relationships throughout because it's a small industry. It's a small group of people that work in it, that worked in it for a long, long time. And there's always people there who can get things done. Like I say, Jeremy Kogo, who works for Top Rank, for example, he has a good relationship with Sean Palmer, who's our COO and legal counsel. They talk a lot of the times on fights that involve those. So if relationships are there, then great. If we can make things happen, then happy days. I don't think, like I say, it's changed too much for me. I've always sat down with all different people. I get on with people, people who maybe across the social media platforms or in that world don't talk too highly or have back and forths with Eddie, I can still sit down with them. You know, it is what it is. It's all a bit of a game, that social media into your world, like that you try and create things, hype, and try and create issues so that you get more viewers. But it is what it is. It's part and parcel of the business. It's been the same for a long time, and it's probably not going to change. But I don't feel it's stopping things happening or detrimental in any way.
We're all about relationships at the Stomping Ground, Frank. None of that.
Yeah, no, 100%. You don't want me to say anything, but you want, God forbid, you'd want a headline that you could name this with saying Frank Smith says, and then a thumbnail like that.
You know the game. Shakur Stevenson, where are you at there? Any updates?
No, Eddie obviously met him. He was at the show. I wasn't in Philadelphia, obviously, I was in Japan. Eddie met him there and had discussions with him. Everyone's going to be after Shakur Stevenson. He's a brilliant fighter. And it's just going to be a case of what makes the most sense for him, you know, and what deal makes the most sense. But of course, every promoter is going to want to try and do something with Shakur Stevenson. So I'm sure that dialogue continues, and let's see how it plays out. But you know, he's going to have a lot of options. He's in a great position.
Anthony Joshua and Carl Froch look to have deaded their beef after
Mm.
a long time of spats going back and forth, etc. What was it? Ego, potentially? I mean, AJ would have seen Froch at his best when he was coming through Team GB. Would have fought on Froch's undercards. What do you put it down to?
I've said it. I've done a lot of interviews, and maybe if Carl sees it, what I've said, he'll probably start coming after me in one of his podcasts or whatever, you know, his YouTube show he does. I always have been quite open. I've always thought it's a bit of jealousy, in all honesty. But in good news, if they squash the beef, then it doesn't matter, does it? Because it's all good.
No, fine, fine.
So
I was
that would
going
be
to
it.
ask you to elaborate, but I suppose I'm probably best off not now.
No, I think Carl did amazing things for British boxing. Obviously, had huge nights himself. Amazing, you know, look, he's a massive name. But AJ is a global superstar and bigger than really just boxing. AJ's huge, as we all know. And I think maybe there's a bit of jealousy there. Look, they came through, they were around together. You know, AJ was in the GB camps while Carl was training with Rob McCracken, you know, so they know each other. They've spent a lot of time around each other. And, you know, I think that's the reason. I might be wrong, but good news if they've made up, happy days. Let's all love each other.
I saw some comments from Carl Froch saying that from a promotional aspect, it's like, oh, they build you up and they love you, and then they want to act like they're your best mate, and then the minute you're done, you're yesterday's news, and they've forgotten about you. Is that? Do you think when he's taught, he was sort of referenced that when squashing the beef with AJ as such? Is that maybe a comment towards Hearn?
I don't know. I don't know. You'd have to ask him. I mean, he's not shy of speaking,
Doesn't
Carl. So
really do interviews.
yeah, I'm sure he would do an interview if you asked him.
We'll have to
No,
reach.
I think Carl did a tremendous job. I think we did a tremendous job, delivered massive nights with him. You know, I don't know if you know, but he sold 80,000 at Wembley once. Um, and we still have a relationship there. We still have a relationship with a number of our ex-fighters. You know, Darren Barker's a perfect one who's at every one of our shows. Works with us. You know, he was one of the early ones who came in early doors, signed with us, along with Kell Brook, along with Carl Froch, etc. So, you know, I think it's we have different relationships with different people. I've worked with AJ since he turned professional. You know, I took him for his medical, so I have a different relationship with AJ than I do maybe with Carl Froch, for example. But my progression of my career has been as AJ's progressed through the sport as well. So, you know, everyone's got a different relationship. You'd have to ask him though what that means. I think we got a good relationship with Carl Froch. I think we did a great job. But yeah, I'm sure he will divulge more.
Roch is more on the Simon Jordan style of opinion in the boxing
Yeah,
world.
exactly. But Froch wants to create a bit of chat so more people watch his YouTube. That is Carl Froch,
He
isn't it?
sells, right?
Sorry?
Controversy sells, right?
Exactly. So, you know, he wants to get those views up.
Derek Chisora versus Joe Joyce. You've just told me off the record. I don't mean to spoil this to the many people attending to the O2 this Saturday, but Mr. Frank Smith will be there in attendance.
Oh, they'll be delighted.
They'll
They'll
be
be
excited,
delighted to
mate.
know.
Already the queues are outside the O2.
Yeah, I mean the ticket sales could jump up on the back of that. Yeah, I'm going. Look, I get on well with Del Boy. I've got a good relationship with him and his family, and my missus is coming as well. Spent a lot of time with him, so I want to go and see him.
Quite a funny build-up, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I saw Adam Morley was calling him a pussy yesterday.
Yes, I need to watch that. That was Matt. You know what? I almost have to like tip my hat off to an extent just because I cannot think of anyone I'd least rather call a pussy.
I mean, there's quite a few people I'd rather not call a pussy, to be honest. But yes, interesting. I didn't watch the whole thing. I just saw
There's
10 seconds
people
of Umar's
you
clip.
would, I suppose maybe your relationship with Derek would potentially allow you to call him a pussy in ways, but I personally, yeah, my ass would be going.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it on camera. I'm not going to say that because he'll probably still come after me. But uh, yeah, Dell's an amazing character. Hence why he's done what he's done in the sport and been around for so long. And still, people, after all these years, he's still so relevant.
There's been calls for both to retire. Look, I know it's not a matchroom event as such, but I think it's quite fun. And look, a lot of the heavyweights are going over to Saudi, etc. It seems like a bit of a, we've said last chance saloon for Derek Chisora a million times over, but it does, you sort of get this feeling now at both their points of their career. Chisora with a bit of inactivity. Joe Joyce hasn't looked amazing in his last couple of fights. Good undercard. Is this sort of what British boxing needs at the minute?
Yeah, looks great. Very good undercard as well, as you say. I think from, like when you say about Dell retiring, it's more, I guess, what more does he want from the sport, if that makes sense? He's been in massive fights. He's been in stadium shows. He's fought challenged for world titles. He's been in with all the biggest names in the sport. It's really what is driving you to carry on. And for him, I think he wants to get to 50 fights. So I think that's his aim. Um, yeah, Joe Joyce, he's coming off the back of those losses, and it's going to be tough. But I think if he can get a win in Joe Joyce's position over Derek Chisora, it sets him back up to go back into that heavyweight mix for both of them. Really, last chance saloon is probably right in a sense of the loser. It's a hard road back, but for the winner, it sets up massive fights because there's massive fights to be made in the heavyweight division.
Crawford Madrimov next week. Eminem's.
Madrimov's going to knock him out.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, he's just like the Incredible Hulk. He looks unbelievable. He's my charge. Until he knocks out Crawford. When he knocks out Crawford, I'll be out the team. I'll be out the door, and Eddie will replace me completely. But for now, the Uzbek. I've spent a lot of time with the Uzbek boys.
Yeah,
I've
I
been
was going
out.
to say, not even just the Uzbek boys. I feel like, is he managed by Vadim as well?
Yeah, Vadim, but and the
Well,
Russian Dmitry
Vadim
Bivol.
managed, you're just like team them.
Yeah, yeah. I've been in Tashkent a few times for massive events we've done there. So yeah, but I think certain people are overlooking Israel Madrimov. I saw a thing from Chris Mannix the other day. I think they were doing a sit down talking about the fight, a few of them, and he said this will be the hardest fight that Terence Crawford's had. So I think we're in for a great night on August 3rd and a great undercard as well.
Had a bit of Eminem in there.
Oh mate, Houdini,
I
that guy.
know. I
Yeah.
know. I've not even heard that new song. I won't lie.
You haven't heard his new song?
Yeah, isn't it called Houdini, his new
Yeah,
song?
what have you been living under a rock?
No, he's a bit old now, isn't he?
He's a
No,
legend.
no, I know he is, Frank, but like it's not really my choice of. I can appreciate a bit of old school Eminem,
Not
but
when you wear a cap like that. It's just too cool for school,
that's
isn't it?
sick, bro.
They do it in your size.
What does that even mean, mate? It's got a adjuster on the back.
An adjuster.
That's what they're called, no?
Anyway, yeah, Eminem as well. Can't wait, mate.
What else have we got on here? Connor Ben, any update?
No, I met with him the other day. He's been spending a lot of time in Spain with his family and training out there. Hoping for news soon and getting back in the ring.
I managed to get him to add me on Strava, which he wasn't very happy about.
Oh, amazing, mate. Congratulations. Must have been a big day for you.
On that topic, where have your Strava runs been?
I haven't been running. Been doing a lot of weights with Kai. Haven't been running too much. Been doing slow runs. I'm just getting old. Body's getting older. I'm
Yeah.
32. It's my birthday tomorrow. I'm 32 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Celebrate.
nothing, mate. I'm in the office. I'm going to the office.
Yeah, but you must be having nice dinner and
No, like as you get older, I think it just becomes just another day, isn't it? Which I'm quite chilled about. I like see my missus at home. Nice.
fair enough. But
Thank
no,
you.
no photo with your clone twin morphed brother.
No. Not tomorrow. You've had enough of those.
Okay,
Does look like a lot of people were going up to him asking, thinking he was Frank at the last show he came to.
fantastic. Alicia Baumgartner, is she still promoted by you guys?
There's a situation ongoing with the WBC around the purse bid for the Pursuit fight, which was obviously won by um, one of her advisor managers, Nelson. So I think they're just finalising where that lands. Obviously, that was a purse bid fight. That was her essentially last fight with us, and then we'll see where we go from there. We've been in decent communication around what's next, but yeah, that's the immediate focus for her is that purse bid fight.
I can't believe that Detroit was over a year ago now. Um,
No.
that was the last time we saw her out. That was a Matchroom show.
Mm.
We know that the positive taste tests come back, and then I think the WBC said she was clear to box. But was there ever like a outstanding sort of verdict from VADA and other drug bodies?
Well, WBC would have handled the case for Nevada, that they would have, as would the commission, would have made a decision. So they've made their decision and she's cleared to box. They would have gone through the process and and that's now been decided.
Canelo-Berlanga,
Mm.
realistic?
I hope so. Yeah, I think, look,
Like the only fight there now other than Eubank.
yeah, I don't honestly don't see the Eubank fight happening. I never did see it happening. Um, so yeah, I think it's the most likely fight and hopefully we'll get it done very soon.
On broadcasting wise, where would that be?
Let's get it done and then you shall see.
Okay, Frank, thank you very much. I hope to see you in Los Angeles.
I'll see you there. Hopefully my passport comes back, but
Hopefully, fingers.
yeah, I'll be there.
Bit of paddle by the beach.
Bit of paddle by the beach sounds a dream to me, mate. You obviously haven't got enough work to do.
Sound not even biting. It's fine because I'm doing Clements and Church stuff with Southampton, Shan.
Oh God,
Shout out
um,
Ian and Fred.
unbearable.
Oh, Frank Smith, you are a
Have a
legend.
good day.
Thank you for your time.